Did you know there's a hidden code that's controlling your life, even if you've never heard of it before? Thoth, the Egyptian master of wisdom, revealed this millennia ago. And the phrase that contains this secret is right in front of our eyes. As above, so below. But what no one told you is that this isn't empty philosophy. It's a real mechanism. And today, if you apply it the way I'm going to show you, you can create your first personal miracle, a real result that you'll feel today. But pay attention, this knowledge was hidden for centuries, not because it's hard, but because it makes you too free once you understand it. So if you stop now, you'll miss the most important part, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to apply this step by step, exactly as Thoth recorded it. And the most important part, you don't need to believe it, just test it. Because when you vibrate the right way, the whole universe will start to mirror that back to you. All that is hidden will be revealed, and all that is separated will be united, for in the one, all things correspond. Now that you already know there's a hidden code behind reality, it's time to discover who was the first to put that code into words. And it wasn't just anyone. It was a figure surrounded by mystery, whose existence crosses the boundaries of history and legend. Hermes Trismegistus, a name that carries two ancient traditions, the Egyptian wisdom of Thoth and the Greek philosophy of Hermes. That's no coincidence. Hermes Trismegistus was seen by many as a fusion of both, as if he were the living embodiment of the union between heaven and earth, between the hidden and the revealed. But what did he do that was so important? He didn't create a religion. He didn't found an empire. He left a legacy more powerful than any human construction, the Emerald Tablet. A small text, short, but so deep that even after thousands of years, it's still being studied and debated by sages, philosophers, and mystics all over the world. And in the middle of this text, one phrase shines like a beacon in the dark. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of one thing. Sounds simple, right? But that phrase holds what may be the greatest secret of existence. Hermes wasn't talking about empty metaphors. He was describing the structure of reality. He was saying that everything is connected, that the material world is not separate from the spiritual world, that the mind is not separate from matter, that the cosmos out there and the microcosm within you follow the same logic, the same vibration, the same order. You know what that means. It means that reality is not fragmented. It's one big mirror where every part reflects the whole. What you see in the sky, in the stars, in the planets, reflects what's happening inside your own heart and mind. And what you feel, think, and believe inside yourself, sooner or later, shows up out there, in your everyday life, in the situations you experience. But here's the detail that almost no one notices. This correspondence doesn't happen automatically. It's not a passive process that works by itself without your participation. It's not enough to just exist for balance to happen. Hermes made it clear that it needs to be activated. A conscious act is required. An alignment between your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And here we return to Thoth. Because while Hermes wrote the theory, Thoth lived the practice. In Egyptian tradition, Thoth wasn't just the scribe of the gods. He was the mediator between the invisible and the visible. He was the one who kept order in the middle of chaos, the one who kept heaven and earth connected by an invisible bridge. Thoth was the guardian of Ma'at, the cosmic order. And that means he didn't just know about this principle, he used it daily to keep the universe in balance. Imagine for a moment. While the gods debated the fate of humanity and chaos threatened to take over the world, Thoth was there, holding the balance between the forces. He wasn't praying for everything to work out. He was creating order based on this principle. Because he knew that what happens in the invisible determines the visible, and that if he kept the right vibration in the spiritual world, the material world would respond at the same frequency. And that's the warning Hermes Trismegistus left for us. He wasn't trying to impress us with beautiful words. He was warning us. He was saying, hey, you're living in an interconnected universe. Nothing you think, feel, or do is isolated. Everything vibrates, everything corresponds, everything creates impact. And if you don't use this consciously, you'll end up creating realities you don't want to live in. You'll become a prisoner of the unconscious vibrations you emit without realizing it. How ancient cultures recognized the same secret with different words. In distant places, in different times, other cultures were already speaking about the same principle, but with different words. Because truth has no owner. It doesn't belong to a single people, nor to a single time. It shows up where there's silence to hear it. In ancient India, long before Western philosophy was born, the masters of the Vedas were already saying, Tat Tavam Asi. You are that. That what? That which you seek outside, that which you project onto the stars, that which you think is far away, but has always been inside you. The Vedas didn't use the language of the Emerald Tablet, but they were talking about the same thing. They taught that Brahman, the infinite cosmic consciousness, and Atman, the inner self, are not separate things. They are one. The universe and the human being are different expressions of the same reality. And when we look at the Jewish tradition, we find the tree of life from the Kabbalah, a map that shows how the divine manifests in the material world through 10 spheres connected by invisible paths. Each sphere represents an aspect of reality. Spiritual and material are not separate worlds. They are layers connected by invisible forces and vibrations. Again, the same message, what is above, has a reflection below. What is spiritual manifests in the physical. These examples aren't coincidences. It's not like these cultures copied one another. Back then, communication between them was almost non-existent, but they all came to the same conclusion because they were observing the same reality. Each with their own language, each with their own worldview, but all speaking about the same universal structure. And when you understand that, you start to realize it doesn't matter where you were born, what religion you follow, or what philosophy you study. There is a truth that runs through all of it. The external reality is a direct reflection of inner consciousness. The world you see outside of you is a mirror of what happens inside your mind and your heart. And this is where the real challenge lies. Because it's easy to talk about this in theory. It's nice to quote ancient phrases and sacred texts. But how do you apply this in real life? How do you turn this correspondence between heaven and earth into something practical that truly changes your day-to-day life? How do you move from theory to seeing a miracle happen right before your eyes? And this is the part that almost no one explained. Because most people stopped at philosophy. They repeated the ancient words, but forgot to teach the practice. That's why so many people read about spirituality, watch videos, study books, but still feel like nothing in their life changes, because they're missing the practical application. And that's why, from here on out, things start to get more interesting. Because now, we're going to start looking where almost no one looks, to nature. Because in it, without words, without texts, without philosophies, this principle is working all the time. And once you see that, you'll realize that from galaxies to your brain, passing through mountains, oceans, and the leaves of trees, everything follows the same sacred patterns that Thoth described. Nature doesn't speak, but it reveals. And those who learn to listen understand the secret that was hidden all along. And it's exactly when you begin to look at nature that everything changes. Because nature doesn't write books, doesn't create religions, doesn't build temples. It simply is. And even so, it holds within it the same secrets that Thoth, Hermes, and the great sages tried to teach us through words. The problem is that while people were busy arguing about what was or wasn't true, nature was already living that truth in silence. Look at a galaxy spinning in space, and then look at the spiral of a seashell on the beach. Notice how the branching of a lightning bolt in the sky is identical to the way rivers carve their paths across the earth. Observe a leaf with its symmetrical veins, and then compare it to the branching of your lungs. It's the same pattern, the same intelligence organizing such different forms on opposite scales. This repeating structure has a name: the golden ratio, a mathematical code that Thoth already knew thousands of years ago, and not because he was a modern scientist, but because he observed. He saw what people stopped seeing. The golden ratio is not a human invention. It's present in the spiral of galaxies, in the arrangement of petals on a flower, in the sequence of DNA. Everything follows this same harmonic pattern, as if there were a universal design behind what appears to be chaos, as if the universe had a signature, an invisible blueprint that connects the very large to the very small. And you know what's most impressive? Your brain also follows that pattern. The synapses, the connections between neurons, the neural network that creates your thoughts, all of it mirrors the structure of the stars in the sky. So it becomes clear. There is no separation between you and the universe. You're not here looking at the world as a spectator. You are part of it. Your existence follows the same principles that govern galaxies and atoms, as above, so below, as in the macrocosm, so in the microcosm. But here comes the shock. Even with all of this right in front of them, most people still live as if they were separate from life, as if they were small gears disconnected from a greater whole. They look at the sky and think it's beautiful, but they don't realize it's a mirror, that the order out there can also exist inside. And that's why they keep living in chaos. Because it's one thing to admire the pattern in nature. It's another to bring that pattern within and reorganize your own life. It's easy to look at a fractal and say, how beautiful. But what's really hard is to realize that your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions follow patterns just as repetitive as those designs. It's hard to see that you're spinning in the same cycles, day after day, without realizing you could change the way you think, feel, and act. And by changing that, you would change everything around you. Your mind is already creating your reality, even if you don't know it. If everything follows patterns, what patterns are you repeating inside your own mind? Because here's the key point. You are already creating your reality all the time, even without realizing it. Thoth and the ancient alchemists stated this clearly. Everything is mind, not in the superficial sense of the word, but in its deepest and truest meaning. The mind isn't just a place for random thoughts. It's the first field where creation happens. Before anything exists in the physical world, it first forms in the mind. First, it vibrates as an idea, as an intention, as a mental image. And if everything begins in the mind, then each of your thoughts isn't neutral. It has a vibration, a frequency that is sending out signals all the time. Reality, in turn, doesn't respond to what you wish deep in your heart. It responds to what you are vibrating right now. And that's when everything starts to make sense. If you spend the whole day thinking about scarcity, about lack, about problems, you're feeding that vibration. And the universe, which is a vibrational mirror, sends it back in the form of situations, people, and events that confirm what you're already vibrating. But if, even in the midst of challenges, you maintain an internal state of gratitude, of trust, and openness to the new, the vibration shifts, and reality inevitably responds to that new frequency. This isn't positive thinking. It's not magical thinking. This is vibrational correspondence. It's a law. It doesn't depend on your belief. It works whether you believe in it or not, whether you know about it or not. But when you become aware of it, you stop acting like a victim of circumstances and begin to act as a co-creator of your life. But there's one detail almost no one talks about, because most people stop here. They teach you to think positively, to feel gratitude, to visualize good things, and think that's enough. But Thoth was clear. It's not enough to think and feel. You need to act, and act in the same frequency as what you want to manifest. And when you understand that thought, emotion, and action need to vibrate together, a question comes up that changes everything. How do you raise that vibration in a practical way, every day, and not just when life feels easy? Because it's not enough to have clarity in one moment and then get lost in chaos the next. The ancients already knew that vibration needs to be sustained in daily life, and that's why they created rituals, not as obligations, but as spiritual technology. The Egyptians, for example, didn't start their day by chance. They had a specific moment at sunrise when they greeted the light with words of power. These weren't empty prayers. They were conscious vibrations, sounds that resonated with the frequency of the universe. Every word spoken in the morning adjusted the person's vibrational field for the rest of the day. They knew that the first thought, the first sound, the first action created a domino effect that would ripple through everything that followed. In all of these traditions, there's a common point. None of them left the day's vibration up to chance. Everyone knew that the internal state needs to be cultivated, because the morning's vibration is not just any vibration. It defines your energetic field for the hours ahead. It's as if the universe were waiting for you to wake up to ask, what frequency do you want your day to follow today? And the answer isn't verbal, it's vibrational. But here comes a detail that few have noticed. It's not just what you do, but when you do it. The timing of the practice changes everything, because there are times of day when the energetic field is more open, more receptive, more sensitive to the frequencies you emit. It's no coincidence that the Egyptians greeted the sun at dawn. It's no accident that yogis practice Surya Namaskar when the light of day begins to touch the earth. It's not by chance that alchemists called sunrise the golden hour. That moment has specific power, because it's when the world hasn't yet been contaminated by the noise of humanity. It's when creation is at its purest, and everything you vibrate in that instant has a greater impact on your energy field and the environment around you. But almost no one pays attention to that. Most people wake up on autopilot. They grab their phones before they even open their eyes. They connect with social media, with bad news, with the worries that were already waiting at the bedside. And without realizing it, they tune their vibration to chaos in the first few minutes of the day, and then spend the rest of the time trying to make up for the misalignment they created themselves. The ancients knew that the beginning of the day is not just anything. It's the first step of a journey that will unfold into situations, encounters, and challenges. And those who don't prepare their own vibration early in the morning end up reacting to the world all day long instead of intentionally creating their own reality. That's why the hidden practices of vibrational elevation weren't just relaxation exercises. They were precise tools for frequency adjustment. Every conscious breath, every word spoken at dawn, every thought cultivated at the start of the day shaped what was to come. It was like tuning an antenna. If you adjust to the right frequency, the signal comes through clearly. If you don't adjust, all you hear is static. And it's exactly that vibrational tuning that the masters practiced every day. Not as a religious ritual, but as vibrational engineering. They didn't let the day begin without first defining what frequency would guide their thoughts, emotions, and actions, because they knew that conscious creation begins in the invisible, and that the invisible is shaped in the moment you wake up. The secret hour that activates the miracle. The first minutes of the morning and the last ones before sleep are vibrational portals. They are like open windows where your mind and your energy field are more flexible, more open, more sensitive to what you choose to vibrate. Right when you wake up, your mind is not yet taken over by the worries of the day. It is receptive, almost neutral, ready to be programmed. And the universe, as a mirror, captures exactly what you emit in that moment. If you wake up already thinking about chaos, problems, bills, or fear of failure, you emit that as the first frequency of the day. And life, as a natural response, reflects situations that feed that vibration. But if instead you wake up in silence for a brief moment, feel gratitude, take a deep breath, and set an intention for what you want to experience, everything changes. Because your vibration changes. And the universe, which has no choice but to reflect your frequency, begins to return it in the form of opportunities, encounters, and synchronicities you weren't expecting. This is not magic. This is vibrational law. And Thoth knew that. He knew that the miracle is not something that shows up from the outside in. It is not an external force that comes out of nowhere to save you. The miracle is something you emit first. You generate the vibration, and reality responds. You plant the vibrational field, and the universe makes it bloom. Creation does not begin in the material world. It begins within. It has always begun within. First in your mind, then in your heart, and only then in your actions and results. That's why what you do in the first minutes of the day is not just routine, it is conscious creation. And at the end of the day, the same thing. Your last thoughts before falling asleep program your subconscious to keep vibrating in that frequency while you rest. If you go to sleep worried, the worry expands in the silence of the night. But if you sleep in peace, in gratitude, in trust, your energy rests in balance. And when you wake up, it's that balance that will guide your new day. But here comes a real challenge, because keeping your vibration high when everything is going well is easy. What's truly difficult is maintaining that frequency when life starts testing you. When a problem comes up at work, a family conflict happens, or bad news hits, it's in those moments that your vibration reveals who you are truly being. And here comes the practical question. What do you do when life seems to want to pull you back into the old pattern? How do you not lose the frequency you worked so hard to raise? That's what you're about to discover now. Because the truth is, life's challenges are not random obstacles. They are mirrors. Mirrors that show you what still needs to be healed, adjusted, and elevated within you. What irritates you on the outside is, in some way, vibrating inside you. What throws you off balance in others is a reflection of something that is still not in harmony within yourself. The ancients called this the mirrors of the soul, not in a moralistic way, but as a tool for self-awareness. Every person who crosses your path, every situation that stirs your emotions, is actually activating hidden frequencies within you. If someone provokes anger in you, it's because they touched a wound that hasn't healed yet. If someone inspires you, it's because they awakened a potential you may have forgotten or have yet to express. Everything you see in others is a part of yourself trying to show up, whether it's to heal or to awaken. And here is a crucial point. Most people react to conflict by trying to change the other person. They try to control what's outside. But the wise have always taught that the real work is internal. When something in the external world throws you off, the question isn't, why is this happening to me? But what is this showing me about myself? Every difficult situation you go through has a single purpose: to align your vibration with your true purpose. It's as if the universe is constantly recalibrating your energy field, bringing you situations that push you to grow, to evolve, to awaken what you have not yet seen in yourself. But few know how to use these mirrors to grow vibrationally. Most people fall into the trap of complaining, blaming, and victimhood. And the more you see yourself as a victim, the more stuck you become in the same vibrational patterns, and the more the universe returns situations that confirm that state. That's why the secret is not to avoid conflict. It's to use it as an opportunity for vibrational adjustment. When something throws you off center, it is the perfect moment to breathe, be silent, and ask, what part of me is creating this reality? What do I need to realign internally so that the outside can change? Because when you change on the inside, what is outside has no choice but to reorganize. It's automatic. It's vibrational correspondence. But how do you maintain that high vibration even when everything seems to be falling apart around you? How do you not lose yourself in the chaos when life doesn't seem to cooperate? That is exactly what you're going to discover in the next step. Create your first miracle now, the action that turns your vibration into reality. It's exactly when conflicts show up that most people lose the frequency they had been cultivating. They wake up feeling good, do a quick practice, maybe even meditate for a few minutes, but all it takes is a problem in traffic, a negative comment, or some unexpected setback, and everything collapses. The vibration that seemed high drops at the first difficulty. And do you know why? Because there was no coherence. It was all being held up only by a momentary thought, not by a real alignment between thought, emotion, and action. Here's the truth that few have the courage to say. It's no use thinking positively for 5 minutes and then spending the rest of the day vibrating fear. It's no use meditating in the morning and acting in desperation in the afternoon. The universe doesn't respond to what you think in isolation. It responds to the coherence of your whole being. Your vibration only stays elevated when what you think, what you feel, and what you do are all moving in the same direction. If you think abundance, feel gratitude, and act with confidence, your whole vibrational field aligns. And when that happens, reality has no choice but to reflect that harmony. It's like an orchestra. It doesn't matter if one instrument plays a beautiful melody if the others are out of tune. The universe only responds to the full sound of your frequency, not to what you say you want, but to what you actually vibrate on every level of your being. And this is where many people get frustrated, because they believe it's enough to visualize or feel something once and the miracle will happen. But they forget that the miracle doesn't depend only on the initial intention. It depends on vibrational consistency throughout the day. Conscious creation doesn't happen by luck. It happens through consistency. That's why Thoth spoke about the importance of sustained vibrational states. It's not enough to have isolated moments of connection. You have to make that vibration a lifestyle. And of course, there will be hard days. There will be moments when the frequency will waver. But it's exactly on those days that you have the opportunity to strengthen your energy field even more. And when that inner alignment happens for real, something shifts. Life starts responding differently. Unexpected situations happen. People appear on your path. Doors open where there used to be only walls. Because now the universe is simply mirroring what you already vibrate inside. The moment has come to apply everything you've learned up to this point. Because the miracle you're waiting for doesn't come from the outside. It doesn't fall from the sky as something random. It doesn't depend on luck or external circumstances. The miracle happens the exact moment your mind, your heart, and your actions vibrate at the same frequency. And how do you do that? First, think clearly about what you want to manifest. Don't think about what's missing. Don't think about fear. Don't think about the difficulties. Think about the final result, the reality you want to live. Then, feel it. Feel it as if it were already real. not as a distant wish, but as something already happening now. Let your heart vibrate with that emotion, because emotion is the fuel of creation. And finally, act. But don't act like someone who still has doubts. Act like someone who is already living that reality. Make decisions, speak, move, and choose as someone who already has what they were looking for. Because when you act like that, your vibration is complete, and the universe responds without hesitation. This is not a nice self-help theory. This is the living application of the principle that Thoth recorded thousands of years ago. As above, so below. What you create in the invisible realm of your mind and heart manifests in the visible realm of your reality. When your vibrational field is coherent, reality has no option. It reflects exactly what you are. That's why your first miracle happens the moment you stop waiting for something to come save you and start acting like someone who has already found it. The miracle doesn't come when everything is perfect. It happens in the middle of the chaos, when you decide to vibrate something different from what the world is showing you. And if you put this into practice today, you'll notice something interesting. Small situations around you will start to shift. An unexpected phone call, an opportunity that appears, a sense of lightness that wasn't there before. These are the first signs that your vibration is working, that you've finally activated what Thoth was trying to teach all along. Because when your inner vibration mirrors what you want to live, the outer reality has no choice but to match it. And if this message reached you, write this in the comments. I activate my vibration now. This isn't just a sentence, it's a commitment to your first miracle. And whoever writes it is already beginning to vibrate differently. And if you'd like to directly support the channel and help spread these messages around the world, there's a special link in the first pinned comment for those who want to contribute and be part of this mission. And don't leave the video yet, because I've prepared a special piece of content that's showing on your screen now. It's the next step in this journey. Click there so we can keep going together and dive even deeper into this practice.